Keegan and Company. It's Keegan and Company, the company you keep. That's it. That's got to be it. Welcome back to the Keegan and Company podcast. For those who are new to the show, my name is Keegan Hipgrave. If you haven't already, and if you're my mate, if you could jump over, give us a little like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. It's a great way for us to grow the audience, and it's a great way for us to enhance the quality of production and have some really great guests like I have on today. In this episode, I'm joined by one of my best mates, professional rugby league players who've been playing over in France for the last 12 months. We'll do a deep dive into it. Josh Raup, how are you, brother?
Hello, Keegan.
Mate, you made it. How good? How you feeling?
Mate, I'm feeling very good. Well, on the Keegan and Co. How good, mate?
Mate, we made it. I feel like we manifested this. We were talking about this a little while ago, and I was like, mate, if we get back to the GC, let's sit down and do one.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I was thinking like when podcasts were becoming a big thing, I remember saying to you, you think about doing a podcast? Because I knew you'd be good at it.
Yeah.
And then you'd started and I'm like, you didn't tell me about that. You kept that a secret.
Well, mate, we were talking about doing it. We probably sat down maybe at the end of last year when I was thinking about doing it and did a couple little mock podcasts.
Yeah.
And just loved it, hey. Like
it's very you.
Well, it's very you as well.
Yeah.
Like it's very us, mate. Like the ability for us to sit down, for those who are listening and not watching, we're in like leather bound chairs.
Yeah.
We've got like token over mum and dad's living room as a little studio.
Such a vibe.
But mate, it's beautiful. Like I love these conversations because I get to chat to some of my best mates who just so happen to be playing professional sport and professional footy. Mate, we won the morning. How you feeling? It's a fucking solid sesh.
Mate, back on the Goldie for a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously grew up here, so it's nice to be back. Actually, you take it for granted, eh? When you leave and then you come back, you kind of like look around, you're like, wow, like this is where it's at. Morning was good. Nothing like a little workout, to a little swim, a little coffee, mate.
It was, mate, it's so beautiful. Shout out to Jerry and Lexi at Legacy Gym in Mermaid. Like, mate, I was getting like head spins at one point this morning because it was hot. Like it was a hot morning.
Yeah.
Everything was sort of shut up at the start and we had a good little sesh. But mate, you feeling good? Body's good?
Mate, feeling good, feeling fit, loving life.
We're back on the GC. We went for a coffee afterwards and there was like not a cloud in the sky. The sun was out and we're like, mate, what are we doing living in France and living in Sydney? Like, let's get back to the GC.
Honestly,
what are we doing?
Yeah, no, the Gold Coast is like, even from the year I've been away, coming back and just seeing everything, everyone, new restaurants, it's all happening here. Like it's unbelievable.
And do you reckon when you come back to Australia, because you're obviously playing in France for those who are listening and we'll do a deep dive into that a bit later on. But do you reckon Goldie will be your spot where you come back to after footy?
I feel like Sydney's where I've been and it's like, it's the big city. Like that's where it's all happening. I feel like if you want to make money in business and that, it's kind of happening there. I feel like Gold Coast is getting better, but I would like to say I would be back on the Gold Coast. Like I'd like Bambi to go to school
Your little girl, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, when she turns 6, say, maybe make her way back up here. I mean, I don't know. Who knows where I'll be?
Yeah. Mate, I want to touch you. You're a married man.
Mate,
I'm
a married man.
Well done. Staring
it's
to the camera.
official.
Tell
yes.
Charlie that. No more girls. No, like and mate, very, very grateful to be a part of the groom party on the weekend. How was the wedding? It looked like it was obviously beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was unbelievable. Like I guess I hadn't seen everyone for a year. So then like we literally came back. I was here for probably 2 weeks and we're getting married and everyone we love and knew like we're going to be there. Yeah. So it was like catching up with everyone for the first time as well. So, but the wedding itself was, it was beautiful. It was so nice. Like
down in Byron.
Yeah, Byron, good spot.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just good, man. Like,
I had a couple of drinks the night before the wedding. A couple of days before.
Mate, had a few too many the night before.
But you bounced back really good.
I think it was just like, I don't know, I just had to. I didn't have a choice, did I? I remember I woke up and I'm like, all right, God, if there's ever a day you need to like give me a bit of energy, it's today, please.
But we had a very wholesome day. Like we obviously had a few drinks the night before. Beach hotel, we were just cruising. And then the morning of, mate, you were good. Like you looked very calm. We obviously stayed at the Airbnb or on site where the wedding was. Beautiful, beautiful spot. But you were calm all day.
Yeah.
Like until just, but like we were getting ready. We were getting ready. And then I think we had to be over at the reception or at the ceremony. Yeah. I don't know what time it was. But you're like, hurry up, boys! Like, let's go. Yeah. And I knew you started.
Everyone's like, you know, you're getting nervous, and I'm like, come on, I don't get nervous. Leave me alone. Like, I don't get nervous. Everyone, the lead up to the wedding, and then I think you were like in the day, are you going to get nervous? I'm like, nah, I don't get nervous. Yeah. Oh man, when we were getting ready, I was so nervous. I don't know what it was. It was just like hit me. It was just like, all right, this is like D-Day. Like
D-Day,
you know, this is whatever. The build up to a wedding is just like, there's so much into it. And then it would just hit me. And it was just like, bang, we're getting ready. And I'm like getting ready going, all right, these guys are going to be ready in time. These were like taking your time. Then I started like getting the shits and I'm like, hurry up, we've got to be up there soon. And you're like, just chill out, mate. Like, it's fine.
Is it stressful putting a wedding together? Like, you're very lucky because your partner, Charlie, is the most organised girl I think I've ever met.
Yeah, as she says, organised by Charlie.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, go check her out. I need to see her.
Yeah, so to be honest, look, I was in France. I didn't do a great deal of the organising. So I'm very lucky that Charlie did. Yeah, look, she'll tell you that it was quite stressful, really? Especially organising a wedding from the other side of the world. The time difference, it was pretty full on. Like even getting all our suits and that organised. Like you think all the boys live in different areas, so a normal like bridal party would all go to a suit place one day. We'd go get fitted. You know, it's so easy. With us, mate, I'm getting measured on Zoom.
Really?
You're getting measured in Sydney. One of the other boys is in Brisbane. You know, one of the other boys in another store in Sydney. Like it was very difficult. But to see it all come together was pretty cool.
Are you happy with the way it went? Because it was so beautiful.
Yeah, no, I am very happy. It just went so fast, eh?
Yeah.
Like that was everyone will say to you, like, you know, it's going to go fast, make the most of it. And it doesn't matter how much you stand there and try to take it all in. It went too fast. I didn't want it to end, did I?
Should we bring that? We obviously had the wedding. We got a big bus from the ceremony back into Byron, and mate, you were flying.
Yeah,
I made this fun as little video of first drink versus last drink. And you're like, I'm the groom and this is my first drink. And then it was a progression through the night and you were having so much fun.
Mate, I was having a lot of fun. I didn't want to go home, but my new wife, she did want to go home. And I was like, if there's ever a time I'm going to go home with my partner, I think it's tonight. So I made the right decision and I went home.
Mate, very smart. And your vows, mate, when we were all standing up on, is it the altar?
Yeah.
The altar. When we were all standing up on the altar, and you were saying your vows, and I was looking at the groomsmen like next to us, and everyone's crying.
Mate,
like,
there was a few tears.
Is that what got you? Because you were right in there.
Yeah, like to be honest, when Bambi was walking down, that's what got me first. Because I was like, I'm not much of a crier, eh? Like I don't, and I was like, nah, I'll be sweet. But then when I saw her, I was like, kind of lost it a little bit. And then obviously Charlie came down, and then I got my shit together, and then I was fine. And then when we were doing our vows. Yeah, I was looking around and everyone was a bit emotional, eh? Like, it was pretty cool to see.
Because it's beautiful. Like, you obviously got so much love for Charlie and and the vows were so, like, well said. But then even your dad's speech, like, afterwards, like, that's probably the best speech that I've heard ever, right?
Mate, it had a bit of everything, didn't it?
Yeah.
It roasted me a bit.
Yeah. You'll never be as good as me or something.
Mate, but he was, I was really impressed. All the speeches were awesome. Like, I was happy.
But even your speech afterwards, like, I don't know if everyone was just pissed or what, but I'm looking around, all the boys are bloody crying, like Mackin, Jen.
Some of my mates, I couldn't believe how much they were crying. Like, and then they come up to me after and they were just like telling me how much they love me, and they're just like, "This is the best day ever."
But that's very much like you though. Like you've got so much love for your mates.
Yeah, 100%. Like I keep my circle pretty small. Like I got a small social battery as well. So. I love me mates. The ones that are close to me, I got a lot of time for.
Matt, I think we should touch on footy, and I want to start probably childhood because you're obviously playing in France, you're playing for Toulouse, you're playing really good footy, you played in the grand final, and we'll touch on all that later on. But I think a great way to start is like how you got into footy and probably our relationship, how we got into it.
Yeah, so I mean, I started playing when I was young. I don't know, being from Queensland, it was kind of, rugby league was the cool thing to do when you're young. So it was I always just sort of got into it. And I think I was like five, maybe six when I started playing, and was half decent. So I just kept doing it. Yeah. And when we met, I was 10, you were 11. We were at an under 11s trial. We literally like, hey, are you the halfback? I was like, yeah. and back then you needed a 2-pass before you could run. Yes. So I had to pass the ball to the people who wanted the friggin' run. So you're like, trying to be like friends with me. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's definitely using me. He just wants the ball. And then you obviously told me after you did. Like
100%. I remember it so distinctively. It was under 11s, like South Coast trial. And I was like, I've got to be friends with the halfback. So he'll give me the ball. Like that was my mind. But then after that first day, like, We just got on so well, yeah, and I think we became probably best mates since that carnival, yeah.
All through, man. We played a lot of footy together, all rep footy when you were young, you know. Think you're the man playing all those teams and that.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad shout. Like, how did you go? Because you played all the rep teams, like from under 11s, 12s.
Yeah,
7s,
like there
14s.
wasn't many teams I didn't make, you know, growing up. There was a couple I didn't, and it hit me hard.
When was that?
Probably
18s.
Nah, probably when you know what it was? Queensland 16s was the first team I didn't make.
Yeah, right.
And that was like, you go from making all these teams to when you're young.
Being a halfback.
Yeah, of course.
And you were captain of most of the sides.
I was, like.
You were a leader.
Yeah, and it was like, I was flying, like, no dramas in the world. And then you kind of don't make a rep team and you're kind of like, this is the worst thing ever. But it's not. Honestly, looking back, like knowing what I know now and seeing some of the players that I've played with that never played in a rep team, it's just like, it doesn't actually mean anything.
Where did your head go when you're like 16 and don't make a rep side? Your first rep side after making it every year?
Yeah, I guess pretty disappointed. Like, I don't know. I just get on with it though.
You just get on with it,
You just
yeah.
get it. I mean, if you want to be an athlete, you got to learn to, I guess, get on with it and persevere. So that's exactly what I did.
But you kept playing. You obviously went. You had the Titans under 20s.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit like about that. How did that sort of contract come about?
Yeah. So I mean, I was just playing. I think it came out when we were 18. Remember South Coast 18s?
Yeah.
It kind of came from there. And I guess you're transitioning from versing boys to sort of versing men.
Yeah.
There's a transition, like, and being the little, I was always little as well.
You were a small kid.
Yeah, I was small. So, you know, always been the little guy. So I was kind of used to playing against big guys anyway. I learned to just adjust. Like, but yeah, 20. So I started at 20s and man, 20s was good. Like
20s was fun.
Yeah. Like you get treated like a professional, don't you? Like you're traveling, you know, you're playing before the NRL games, you're playing at all the big stadiums and you're young, you're from, you know, 17, 18, 19, like you're playing in under 20. So you're flying at that point.
It almost like gaslights you a little bit in the sense where like, you think you're like not invincible, but like kind of, you think you're in like you're so close of playing NRL because you're in the same colours of them. You're in, and a lot of the guys who play, like all of them went through that under 20 system. The under 20 system isn't around anymore, which I don't know why. Like,
I think that's why though.
You reckon?
I mean, I think, you know, obviously funding's got a bit to do with it. That would have cost a lot of money to, you know, bring all them as well. But I think, you know, the mental health side of things of actually thinking you're the man and when you're not, you're not at that step yet. So why are you getting treated at that step? And then all of a sudden you go from, you know, playing at all these big stadiums to it's time to play NRL and you're not playing NRL. You know, you're back playing cup or whatever and it's not the same. So
did you struggle with that at all? Like, did you, or like growing up, did you expect to be
growing up,
100%. You expected it? It wasn't like, oh, it'd be nice to be like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that was always going to happen. And then when it didn't, it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But the journey from coming to the realization that that's not what my, I guess my journey was all about. There's so many other avenues I could have gone down in what I did. And looking back, I don't really care. Like I've had the best experiences. Like what I've done, like it's been awesome. Like I'm really happy with how my career's gone. It's gone on a different path to what I thought when I was younger, but it's been good. So.
And it's so cool for me, obviously being super close mates with you, looking from the outside in. Yeah. Because you've like footy's a roller coaster. Yeah, whether you're in NRL, whether you're playing Super League, French League, park footy. Yeah. It's a full roller coaster.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
You think like, you think you're either going to make it or you're not. Even just like transitioning, being around the boys, not being around the boys.
Was when you're young, like you think we're all doing the same things. We've got this narrow-minded, like we're doing this, this, and this. But it's so good to see. Like obviously, we've met so many good blokes along the way. Like friends that we'll be friends with them for life, right? And to sort of see how everyone's journey's gone. Like yours was completely different to mine. Yeah. Mine was over here. You know, some of the other boys were just everywhere. Like, and to watch everyone sort of succeed in their own little way, it's been really nice to watch.
And it's not a straight line. And just because it's a different journey doesn't mean there's a right or a wrong
that's
journey.
Exactly right. There's no right or wrong. Like, you know, at the end of the day, for me, it's just about being happy. And that's probably when you're younger and you're coming from that 20 system, coming out of that 20 system, you might not be happy because of how things are gone, but you just got to look at it and go, this is my path that I'm taking, and just make the most of it.
That's probably such great advice for young crew coming through, hey, because like, mate, similar to you, always put expectation to play NRL. Yeah. Whereas like as soon, and I talk to so many crew, like even Sean Lane, like he obviously like he won Parramatta's Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
Not last season, the year before. And he was just like put so much pressure on himself. Like he just fucking won Player of the Year at Para.
Yeah.
He wanted to play State of Origin. He was like one of the best players in the grand final. And he's like, I was putting so much pressure on myself to play. And then didn't get picked in Origin. He's like, well, what else can I do?
Yeah.
And he was unhappy. And then as soon as he took that pressure off, and then as soon as he like started having fun, that's when he started playing his best footy.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Literally me. That's been me this year.
Really?
Like, I've probably had the best year. Like as a playing.
Yeah.
Like my playing has gone. It's just been like I've had so much fun. It's got to do with just not caring and but just blocking the outside, having fun with what you're doing. Like. I remember training a couple of years ago. I was going to training and I was just like, I don't want to be here. Like I literally did not want to be here.
Where were you? Where were you then? Were you playing cup or were you playing 20s?
Where was I? I would have been playing. Nah, it's when I was at the. When I was at the Bulldogs.
Tell me about that, because you finished up under 20s, and usually from that you'll either go to a Queensland New South Wales Cup, like Clubland, or you'll go into a professional system.
Yeah, so I left 20. So I was with the Titans, but I did a year in Newcastle as well.
Yes.
I was in Newcastle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So I had a year in Newcastle. I actually left Newcastle early because I got homesick.
Right.
Yeah. So I was there for a little bit. Actually loved Newcastle. Like Newcastle's a good spot.
Beautiful.
Some really good people. Met once again, like on my little journey, met a bunch of people that I'll be friends with for life, and then left again, and still talk to them a lot. But left Knights and then went back up to the Gold Coast because I was a little bit homesick. But then the World Cup was coming up, so so obviously I got Welsh in me, so I'm very lucky. My grandma's from Wales, so I started, the World Cup was coming up, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to play in the World Cup and just sort of see what happens. So I was lucky enough to get picked in that 2017 World Cup. That was in Australia, New Zealand, and
Mate, how was that experience?
Mate, it was good because I was still young, like going on it was like a 6-week tour, like around just, it was so good. Like playing in PNG.
But
like
you wouldn't have known any of the boys.
I had no idea who anyone was. Like went in, they were all from like the UK and that. So
were they playing Super League?
Yeah, there was a few Super League players and that. Like obviously Wales is a small country, but a lot of them were, I guess, English, but just had the Welsh heritage.
Who were some of the players?
Do you know Regan Grace?
Yes.
Yeah. Morgan Knowles. He's another one. He plays for England now.
Great.
So he's too good for Wales now. He's
he's moved on.
He's gone. I'm playing for England
now.
now.
See you, boys. I love you, but I'll see you later.
Yeah, but that's like another like Regan Grace, like he's one of my best mates now. Like it's insane to think that
he's playing good footy as well.
Yeah, well, he's gone to union now. So he was playing union when he was young, and then he played Super League. The thing is, he did everything in the Super League. He won all the grand finals, Challenge Cups, and he went, I want to challenge myself, so I'm going to go play in union. And rugby union over in Europe is like so much bigger than rugby league.
Yeah.
So I guess he wanted to venture out and test himself. So that's what he's doing at the moment. So he's on his own little journey doing that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, crazy to think that I met them in, the 2017 World Cup, and like I speak to them all the pool. So,
you'll never forget those experiences. How did you go in the World Cup?
Yeah, we didn't go great.
What was your what was your pool? Who'd you have in your pool?
The most recent one or the last one?
The last one.
Yeah, so the most recent.
No,
the one before. Yeah, so we had PNG, we had Fiji, and then we had Ireland.
Okay.
So to be fair, it was a good pool. The most recent World Cup, we had Tonga. Like it was just, they needed I think they are changing the way that it gets played, but it needs to be changed. There's no point in Wales versus Tonga, you know what I mean? Like we're not going to get much out of that. But like the games like Wales versus Ireland or, Scotland, even Fiji and that, like they're decent games. Get the top tier teams playing each other and then the lower ones playing each other.
Was it from that where you got the gig at the Bulldogs?
Nah, so I was at East Tigers for a couple of years playing cup there, which was good. That was, to be honest, I had a good experience at East Tigers. I was living on the Goldie driving up. That the commute was a bit tough, but it was a good experience. I feel like that was my transition. Like it was a lot of the boys, they might go from 20s into NRLs. Like I was never going to do that. Okay. It was kind of, I was a smaller, I probably developed a bit, when I was a bit older. So I had to go through that journey. So I went and did that, played cup, which was good, transition playing against men, getting a bit of that.
That's wild.
And then from there, I did my ACL.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember that.
That was a time.
Yeah.
Going from, I guess, always just playing footy, never really had any big injuries to doing your ACL, and then it was like,
even growing up, your body was pretty sweet. Hey.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky. like touch wood.
Touch wood, yeah. We're good.
Yeah, so did my ACL sort of my second year playing cup, and then off contract. Honestly, it was crazy. First time in my life I didn't have anything. Like I didn't really, no one really wanted to sign someone. It was at the end of the year as well. So I was like, who would want to sign someone coming off an injury? So I guess that was pretty tough, but that's when that's when I grew up a lot. That's what made me kind of look in the mirror and go, what is it you want from life? Like, how do you want to go about this? You know, you can either sink or swim. And it looked at life outside of footy and kind of just went with it.
Because I imagine a lot of the times in that position, like I've been in that position before, being injured, off contract, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Scary time.
Very
and especially
scary.
When all you know is footy. Like this, we were having this conversation this morning at the beach when it was just like, well, yes, obviously both of us were very ambitious. Like we both want to we want to make good money. Obviously like we want to have a good family. We want to be happy.
Yeah.
And for us, we talked about it. It's like that was the path that we knew that we could do it.
Yeah.
So when that's taken away, 100%. I imagine that'd be so bloody tough.
Yeah. Well, for me, like rugby league's not my. It's not my die-hard passion. Like it's not my everything. It was at one time.
It was when you were younger.
Yeah, it was when I was young. But looking at it now, it's not. But it's given me like the opportunity to do a lot of other things in life. You know, meet people. You know, travel to some places that I would have never traveled to if it wasn't for rugby league. So I guess. Yeah, it was, man, rugby league's just an opportunity to do other stuff. And I think that if younger people can see that as well, it'll help a lot.
But it's hard. Yeah, it's all great. Like being now that you're on the back end of it and you've actually seen it, but you don't know what you don't know. Right?
And it's scary when you don't know. Like now that I'm a bit older and I can kind of look back, it's easy for me to sit here and say, but man, at the time, people could say whatever they wanted to me and it wouldn't have mattered. I would have just whatever. Yeah. Like I'm so down this lane.
Did you have anyone growing up that said you're too young, like you're too small, you're not going to make it?
Yeah.
Like, did you ever have those conversations?
Yeah, all the time, 100%, man. People all the time would just be like.
Was there a standout moment that you're like, no, like fuck this guy, like I'm going to do it regardless? And like I might be putting words in your mouth. It might not.
Nah, there wasn't a standout. It was just like a constant thing. It was always there. It was always, people would always talk because I was quite small. Like I was tiny, man. Like, you know, there was a game that we versed each other. It was Coombar versus Palm Beach in the grand final in high school. And I was tiny. The jersey was swimming on me. And I ran the ball and Keegan, I was versing Keegan and he dead set nearly threw me back over the goalpost.
There'll be a clip then around somewhere. Cause I remember I was like, cause obviously love you, mate. Like got so much love for you, but as soon as we crossed the line, it's like, and I almost wanted to get it on you because you are my best mate. And anyone who plays footy understands that. But I remember like, I got a hold of your jersey and I was like, I'm going to ragdoll.
Mate, it was probably like, it would have been 10 to 15 meters back. You just ragdoll me back. It was like Gordon Tallis, but down the.
I still think you won that game.
Oh, mate.
Do you guys win it?
Oh, we won. Scored a little meat pie as well.
You don't forget, mate. You don't forget.
Yeah.
Back to your ACL. Do you think that's probably one of the trickiest times in footy career? Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. In life.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. It was. I just met Charlie too, so it was a tricky time because I was kind of going through a lot, but I was also getting into a new relationship.
Right.
So, and I was kind of like, just what am I doing in my life? You know, there's a new girl on the scene. Like, what am I doing? But honestly, I look back at the time, it was the worst time of my life. Looking now, it was the best time of my life. It made me grow up. It made me venture out, made me try new things. And to be honest, I'm so glad it happened.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened after that? What was the next steps? Like, what steps did you take?
Well,
afterwards?
to be honest, like if it wasn't for that, I probably would have never gone down to Sydney because being injured gave me the opportunity, the time to go down to Sydney and I guess see Charlie because she was from Sydney.
You were going back and forth, yeah?
Yeah, I was going back, a lot of back and forth.
I'm going to see my cousin in Sydney. You're not telling any of the boys? You kept that on the download, didn't you,
boys,
mate?
I literally, I'd fly in for the day. We'd just hang out. We'd go on a date and then I'd fly back to the Goldie. So
love wins, bro.
Yeah, man.
Love
always
love.
wins. But like all me mates were kind of like, where are you going? What are you doing this weekend? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm just going to see my family down in Sydney, which I do have family in Sydney, so kind of a line. But
I've never heard of him, mate.
After a while, it was kind of like, Ralphie, what are you doing, mate? Like, what's going on? But you know, I wanted to keep it quiet. It was a new relationship. You know, I was going through a bit as well. But anyway, I ended up moving down to Sydney. In that time, I was in North Sydney Bears for a bit, which was good. They were along with the Roosters, so had a little bit of opportunity there, but that was kind of my comeback, like bit of my comeback story, you know, comeback from my ACL. It was crazy during my ACL, you know, when you're with a club, everything gets done for you. Yeah. Everything gets paid for. I paid for all my recovery. I got my physios. I went and paid for all my physios. I had a guy that was with Manly. His name's Cam Dyer. Okay. So he literally helped me through all my rehab. I paid him to help me through my rehab.
Wow.
And it was like, I could have either just not done that and never gone back, or it was like, okay, just suck it up, get on with it.
I look at that time for you because I remember, I think that time is when I first came to Sydney.
Yeah.
And it was very similar times.
Yeah.
And I look at that as like a way, two very easy paths. Like just let it go and have a cooked ACL.
Yeah.
But you did the work.
Yeah.
Like you fully settled in, you did the work, and now look at you, like you're fully reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah, I am now. Like it's crazy to think what I could have done if I didn't just get on with it, you know. And then like North Sydney Bears, and that's how the Bulldogs came up. Like that came from that. So it was basically like a year of just like, okay, I just need to get back on my feet. I haven't played footy. I didn't play because it happened called end of the year, like and then it wasn't back. Like I didn't play for, could have been 12 months, you know.
Far out.
Could have been 12 months. So my first game back was a Roosters trial.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that was my first game back, and I just remember I was like, oh my God, like.
Is that when would they put all the big dogs back as well? Or like?
Nah, so the first trial that we played was kind of the young blokes. Okay. It was kind of the ones I'll give it a go. So they were along with North Sydney Bears, so I did that, and I played in that, and I just remember going, man, I haven't played for like 12 months. Like,
you nervous?
This could be, yeah, man. It was like, I could not be the player that I was. Who knows? This could go really bad. I haven't played in 12 months, but no, I went good. Just grinded it out for the year, and then something good came from it, and just went from there.
Is that when?
Yeah, so I was with the Dogs. Yeah, so the Bulldogs came from that. So had a good opportunity to go there, do a preseason there. Man, that was like the hardest training I've ever done. I don't know if you've ever heard about some of the Bulldogs preseasons, but
was that when Dan Ferris was in there?
Yeah,
yeah. Fez. So Fez was at Titans.
Yeah,
with me.
I know.
And I know because did they just get wooden spoon?
They were coming off the back of a wooden spoon. Oh. Yeah, so it was like. Yeah, we got flogged.
I was talking to Fez about Ferris about when that happens, like when he went over there. Like he's a good friend of mine, and he's just like, well, something's got to change. Like we got food and spoons. Something's got to change,
mate.
And boys got pumped.
Yeah, it was awful, mate. Like getting up. That was when I was getting up for training, not wanting to go to training for a bit. Like it was like, man, my body was. I just had Bambi as well. Yeah. So she was a newborn. She was halfway through that preseason. She was a newborn. So like I'm like newborn life. No sleep. Going to training, getting absolutely flogged every day. And it was like, what's this all for? Like you never know. Like you're in a preseason, you're just like, there's so many people here. Like every NRL preseason, there's like 40 blokes there fighting it out for what? 30 spots, you know? It's hard. So that was tough. But off the back end of that season, that's how Toulouse came about.
Right.
And that's like, I'm so glad. Like I'm so glad that I went through all that to get the experience and the opportunity that I did to go over to Toulouse, because it made it all worth it. It really did.
It's not like it's a small move though. It's not like you're moving from Sydney to the Gold. You're moving like across, bro. You move it across the ocean.
Yeah, the other side of the world.
No one speaks English.
Yeah.
Well, no one. But you know what I mean. Language barrier.
Well, I wasn't going to do it, so that came about, and Bambi was 1, and I was like, she has her own business here. Like she does pretty well in Australia. Like I was sitting there going, I got to move my family over there. Like, is this the right thing to do? And then I was like, no, it's not. This is selfish of me. Like, why would I move my family over there for me to just be playing rugby over there? Like, it's not the right thing to do. And I sort of sat Charlie down. And I just said, look, I don't think we're gonna do it. And it was her that was like, no, let's do it. And when she said that to me, and I was like, but why?
Yeah. And
she's like, because this is an experience, and when are we going to have this opportunity to do it again? And that kind of gave me the kick up the butt to be like, all right, let's just do it. So then we did it, and it was like moving our whole family over. We got a 1-year-old over to, a country that don't speak English. There's a language barrier. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Like, it could have been anything.
Yeah.
But it was the best time of my life.
Really?
Yeah, it was the best year of my life, without a doubt.
Why?
Mate, we got to the people that I met over there, half the squad were French, the other half were from England. We had some some Aussies that were over there. There were some Islanders over there. Just a mix of people. It was unbelievable. And the thing is, not every Australian can just go over there and play.
Run me through that because that's something that I don't know about. Like,
so they picked me up from the World Cup last year. Yeah. So I had the year with the Dogs, and at the end of that year, I played in the most recent World Cup, and that was in England. Yeah. So to be honest, I was going to play in that World Cup, and I was going to, maybe just hang them up after that because I was just like, I've played in 2 World Cups. Like, I'm kind of just, I've got a family now. Like, I've got to give them my time. And then, to be honest, Toulouse picked me up from the World Cup. So the reason I could go over there, so the big reason why I was able to be eligible to go over there is because you're only allowed to play in that competition if you've played in the World Cup teams.
Really?
So if you've got that heritage.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so, and like, I played for Wales. So it was like, most of the time they see Aussies playing for these other countries and they just go, boom, I want you, because they know that you've come through.
You've been through the system. Yeah,
you've been through the system. They know that you're good, and they want you over there. So not everyone can go over there. Like, not every Aussie that's coming through can just, I'm going to go play in France and England.
But can an Aussie go over there?
They can. So there's quota players in Super League, there's only 7 in each team.
Okay.
So you got to think, they fill up fast.
Yeah.
Like, you get your 7 quota players, but then outside of that, then it's like you got to be eligible.
Who were the Aussies in your team? Did you have any Aussies in your team that we would know?
So we had Ruben Rennie. Do you know Ruben Rennie? Yeah. So he was with the Dogs for a bit. Who else do we have? Do you know Dominique Perret?
Maybe. Yeah.
He played a bit NRL. He played for Titans.
Yes.
Titans for
Dom,
a bit. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, Dom.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so he was there. Do you know Sitaleki? Can't even say his last name. It's too long.
Good luck.
He played for Penrith.
Okay.
Big prop. Used to run it off the back fence, 100 miles an hour.
Right.
There was only a couple of us.
So with and because it's a French league, it's called the Championship.
Yeah, so it's French and English league.
So because I look at the Super League, and so would that be like the French equivalent of the Super League?
No, it's pretty much, so you got Super League and then you got Championship,
right?
And then they got the relegation system. So then teams that win it, then they go up. Teams that lose Super League come down. So it's kind of like they're one banner. So they're all under one banner. Yeah,
and you played in the grand final, so obviously had an amazing season.
Yeah, so we'll fighting for promotion.
Right.
So we had a great season. So we versed London Broncos in the grand final. So basically the winner went up. That was a huge game. They call it the £1 million game because basically the winner gets £1 million to go up into Super League.
Like the club gets it. To buy players, to build infrastructure.
Just to be, it's like teams in the NRL. Like I'm sure the NRL fund money and that, it's the same thing. So it's such a big game, and there's so much riding on this game. There's so many people's lives change. For London, for example, like they went up, like all their contracts would have doubled.
Really?
Like there's so much on the line in this game, like you don't even realize people's lives change.
Really?
Yeah. So like families, like you got a family that's just like, on a normal contract, like they did doubles the next year. All of a sudden they're living in better houses, they've got better cars.
How wild is that?
It's insane.
So say if you're on a contract and you signed for like, I don't know what it would be, like £50, 50K or 100K or whatever. Yeah. Would the clause in your contract be like, if we do go up, then you would get X amount of money?
So in the most contracts, it's like, okay, this is what you'll get playing Super League. This is what you get playing Championship. Right. So you've already negotiated it beforehand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So if you win, you know what you're going to be on.
So how were the boys leading into that game?
Yeah, it was pretty full on. It was such a good experience. Yeah. Going through that, the boys were excited. Like, to be honest, we thought we're just going to win. Like, there was no other thought. Like, it was just like, that's how you got to think. You just got to think you're going to win, and that's the end of. So when we didn't win, it hit hard, especially after the year that we had. I was playing with some of my really good mates. Like, it was like, I just wanted to win, not so much for myself, but I wanted to win for them. I wanted to win for my coach. Like, how often can you say you want to win for your coach? Like, a lot of the time there's so many coaches in my career that I haven't even liked. Like my coach over in France, like I loved him. He was full French, like could speak really good English though, which helped. Yeah. The language, we can talk about language barrier.
Mate, talk to me about the language barrier, because can everyone speak English in the game?
Most of the boys can speak English. A lot of the Frenchies can speak English because, English is one of the main languages in the world. So the big one was like my back row spoke no English, and I wasn't really good at French. Yeah. Right. So we didn't have a conversation. Like, I couldn't ask him about his family, how he was. We never had a conversation. So we spoke about our plays that we did, which were French numbers. So like number 3 is toi. So toi is a block.
So like, you'd be calling toi.
I'd be like toi and deux. Like I'd be saying numbers which were our plays.
To obviously simplify it so it's easy for
Yeah,
everyone.
so it's easy for everyone, right? That's all. That is the only communication we had. Like before training, I'd be like, I'll just give him a nod and a laugh. Or the only other thing that we would say to each other on the field, I'd say to him like bon garçon, which means good boy, and he would say good boy to me. So he would speak that English to me and I'd speak that French to him.
Really?
And that is it. And I'm like, we're sitting there on Mad Monday and I'm like, boys, how do I say I love this guy?
Yeah.
I don't know him from a bar of soap. His name's Max Stephanie. Shout out Maxie.
Yeah.
I don't know this guy from a bar of soap. I've never had a conversation with him. I've played this whole year with him. We don't speak the same language, but honestly, this bloke's a legend. I love him.
And you've got that bond from just playing, like him being your halfback, your back rower.
Yeah. And like, how does that work? Like communication's such a big thing in rugby league, right? Communication's everything, and we couldn't communicate. We set our plays and like that was it.
But it still worked.
It worked. It just, I don't know why and I don't know how, but it just worked. And like really good season as well. Like set him up for a few tries, like more than a few. Like he loved me. He's just like
very humble, mate.
Yeah. Like I don't know. It just worked. I don't know.
I look at like NRL, like playing in the NRL, and you're screaming. Like you're talking. Like we're talking all the time. Like when I was playing back row, and that's why I'm so curious about the relationship between you and him. Yeah. Because like I'm screaming at my halfback's screaming at me. Yeah. Obviously the crowds are very loud.
I guess we're screaming at each other, but it just wasn't making sense.
Oi, come here.
Like, in the end, it kind of did. Like I guess he'd be like, yeah, come tight. Like there's words, but we can't string a sentence together to speak to each other. It just worked.
Yeah. Team bonding, celebrations, or like being around the boys. Is that a big thing over there? Like,
Mate,
culture-wise?
That was huge. Like, and that was one of the big things. Like, obviously getting on the piss is big and that's a big thing. But like, we would just go down. We'd go down to the city, not even get on the drink, just hang out. Yeah, get feeds, get coffee. Like to me, that's what team bonding's all about. And it's like if you can hang out at breakfast and use a really close at breakfast time, well then obviously he's going to be good in the night time as well.
Is it? and you got to travel around a little bit when you were over there?
That was the whole experience and being able to travel to places. That was the thing for Charlie as well. She's like, I'm a young mum. I can't just go do a Europe trip. You know what I mean? All these young people going over to Europe and she's like, this is my opportunity to do a Europe trip on my own little way. So that's what we did. We got to travel around, you know. Went to Spain, went to Paris, went to the UK, got to get around a little bit, you know, took Bambi around the world. Like that was amazing. Like to think that, I mean, she's not going to even remember it.
Yeah.
But to think when she's older and I'm going to sit there and say to her, like, you lived in France.
Yeah.
And she understands French.
You were saying that this morning, and because Bambi's 2 now?
Yeah, so she'd go to, they call it crèche over there. Yeah. So it's like daycare. So she went to crèche over there and we had like a parent day, right? So we would come in and like, me and Charlie English, everyone speaks French. We're kind of on the outer. It's like if you went somewhere here and someone didn't speak any English, you'd kind of, and they'll just speak. So we were just kind of on the outer and we were just kind of watching, and we watched her for like an hour interact with everyone. And man, it was unbelievable. She fully understood French. She understood everything they were saying. Yeah. And it was like, I was like, man, I need to learn more French for her.
Kids are so smart.
And they just take it in,
Their ability to learn is incredible.
Don't get me wrong, it was quite frustrating though because she's learning how to speak a language at all. So she's learning how to speak English, you know, so now she's learning English and French. So at home she's speaking English, we're speaking English to her, and then when she was at crèche, she was speaking French. Yeah. So she did get frustrated. I could sense there was a lot of frustration coming at home when we're trying to explain things to her because she was confused, which is fair enough. But man, it was amazing to see. Like, I was proud of her. I was like, this little girl, like she's coming on 2 and she's fully understands French. She was saying French words. Like it was so good.
Mate, tell me about, what do you think would probably be the biggest like challenging time moving overseas? Like obviously it's like, you had an amazing season. You played in the grand final. Yeah. Was there a standout moment that was challenging for you over there?
Yeah, 100%. It was not easy. Like to say it was the best year of my life does not mean that it was easy.
Yeah, okay.
Like mine and Charlie's relationship probably took a hit because we didn't have help with like Bambi and stuff. So we didn't get those date nights that we would always go do. So that was really hard. And I guess we're getting married at the end of the year, and it was like, we weren't going on those dates and doing those things. Like that was probably the challenge. And like Charlie was getting a little bit homesick as well. You know, she's got a really good relationship with her family. Her family weren't just down the road like they were in Sydney. Very lucky her family did come over and visit a couple of times, which was good. But the hardest part was probably, I guess, just being parents in a foreign country, not having that help, not having that support that we once did have. But that was definitely very hard.
I couldn't imagine doing it in your home country. Like imagine like I look at mates who have kids and they're like, they might be living in a different city. They don't have their grandparents to lean on. They don't have anyone else to lean on. It's just you guys and you full time. Like, and then throw in another country, throw in a language barrier, throw in playing professional footy.
Yeah. Like we couldn't even like, we needed to book an appointment for Bambi and we're like, we can't even like just call up a doctor and be like, hey, can we get in today? Like they don't speak English. Like
the little things.
Yeah. It's the littlest things. Like, it was so everything was so much harder. You think about anything you do on a day-to-day basis here. Yeah, it was so hard to do.
Really?
There. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite part over there, do you think?
I think my favorite part was just being in a city that was like Toulouse and the fans that were there and like they just loved you, you know, going out and playing for these people that, you know, invest their lives, I guess, into you. And then, man, like after the game, just going over and seeing my family, you know, when we finished playing and just being like, you know, how good's this? Like we're in France, you know, I'm living out my dream here. Like that was every time after a game, I'd go over to see Charlie and Bambi. It was like a pinch me moment every single time. Like take Bambi on the field and that.
So cute.
Yeah, that was definitely the best part. I mean, other than that was probably traveling as well.
Yeah. I look at like Carl Lawton and a lot of mates that we're really close with. Yeah. And he always said that moment of like being on the field, going over to see his little Barb and his partner, and then getting the photo like of you guys on the field. It's like, it's sort of like a bucket list moment.
Yeah, it's like it takes it into perspective. Like sometimes why am I doing this? And then you kind of go and see your family afterwards and it's like, well, that's why. Yeah. You know, you see the smile on their faces, you know, they're obviously proud of you and that. Yeah. So that's definitely the best part.
You touched on dad life. You touched on living over there. How has Bambi changed the way you are? Like, what do you think's changed since being a dad?
Man, I don't know. I always, like obviously having a girl, people ask me a lot about having a girl. I always wanted a girl. I didn't want a boy.
Really? Is there anything like you, they'll be running amok, mate?
Yeah. I always wanted a little girl. And like, I guess, how's parenthood changed me? Like, you just can't be selfish anymore. Yeah. Like I think I was a selfish person before and you can't be. It's not about you. Like every single thing that you think of, you've got to think about your child. And I guess having a little girl, it hasn't really changed her being specifically a girl. I guess I won't know that till she's a bit older, until the girl things sort of happen. But mate, she's like a little boy. She just runs.
She runs right.
Yeah, she runs right.
Even at your wedding, she was picking up all the stones as you were getting married. And we're like, come on, baby, come over here.
Yeah, she's just she's a fiery little redhead, mate. Yeah. She's the best. She's like, it's like having a little boy, honestly. I feel like she's gonna get into sport and do all that stuff anyway. So,
but it's so cool, like, mate, like, to be honest, seeing you like with her, like, because obviously I didn't get to see you for a whole year, and watching Bambi grow up, and like, because I love our relationship so much because we don't have to go. We can go months or a year without seeing each other, and then we'll see each other. And it's like nothing's changed.
It's a very low maintenance friendship, and it's always been like that. And I think that's important because a lot of friendships are like you need there's some people where you need to speak to them every day. That's what they need. I have got friends that are like that, but I think it's also important to have those low maintenance friendships as well, where you just know, like, you don't have to go. You can go a long time without speaking, but you know, you're watching them from a distance. You're seeing their journey. You know, that's important as well.
And that's why I guess, like, I'm so proud of you for everything that you're doing, like, not only on the footy field, but also off the field with Charlie and Bambi. And, like, you're such a good dad. And you can tell
Thanks,
that.
Mate.
Well, you can, like, you can
really
tell.
Nice.
Well, mate, I'm not pissing your pocket. It's the truth. Like, I see the way you react to it. And you're obviously, like, the values that you've got been passed down from your family, and you can see that with Big Stevie Boy and in the speech that he said at your wedding, like it's just, you've got so much love for your family, and you've spoken about it before, how your like support network and your friends, like, it's a small group and you don't need a big friend group. But mate, incredibly impressed. I don't have a question for that. It was more just to say, like, I fucking love you, mate, and you do it, and I'm so proud of where you're at in Toulouse, because it is very cool.
Yeah, thanks, man. No, I've got high values, and it's important to keep them no matter where you're at in life. You know, things can, I guess, get pretty hard, especially in parent life. And I'll be honest, being a parent is the hardest stage of life. You know what I mean? It is hard, but as long as, I guess, you keep your values and you know, have a goal and always have that goal of what you want to do. And it's important for me now to everything I want to do, we do as a family. You know, it's easier. Everything's easier in a group.
Yeah.
And this is my little group, you know, like.
What values do you want to pass down to Bambi? Do you think about that often?
Yeah, I do. Honestly, I really want Bambi to be really hardworking.
Okay.
That's very important for me. No matter what she decides to do in life, always be, I guess, the hardest person, you know, hardest working person in the room. The other thing as well is probably like kindness.
Yeah.
Like you don't think about that quite often. This is a big thing with Charlie that she wants to pass down as well. It's just to be kind. You know, we live in a pretty full-on world these days, and I guess people forget how easy it is to be kind.
It's not hard, brother.
It's not.
It's really not.
Yeah, and if I can, you know, if I can raise a hardworking, kind little girl, I think that I'll be happy. And I think that's what she'll be.
And that's probably like the biggest compliment that you could give your parents, right? Is being hardworking and kind.
Yeah.
Like, when I think of like two traits between Charlie and yourself,
Yeah.
first thing that come to mind is hardworking and kind. Like Charlie is like obviously the most organized person, but she's a mum, she's a business owner.
She's a hustler, man.
She's a little hustler, you know what I mean?
It's
like,
very like, and I'm so proud to be like, that's my wife. Like,
yes.
You know, a lot of, I guess a lot of females can kind of take the back foot step and kind of go, you know, the guys are kind of doing everything, but she's not. She's never been like that. She's always like, I've wanted my own things in life. And to me, that's what attracted me. Yeah. And that's what's important. And a lot of guys would be the same. Like you see your partner doing things in life, and that's what's, I guess, that's what turns me on. Like,
we love you, Charlie. We love you. But the two in it together, like you got the hardworking, then you got the kindness as well. Like a really good friend of mine, Ali Day, he's probably the best surf lifesaver in Australia, if not the world. He's got Active Gym in Burleigh, actually Active Gym franchise. He's a gun. And we did a podcast, like one of the first podcasts, early days. I think he was like number 2. Yeah. And he has this really great thing where whenever he thinks of something kind about someone or when he thinks about something that's good, he'll just tell them.
Yes, that's good.
Because like, mate, it's so wild. Like when like you receive a compliment from someone, because sometimes it's pretty rare. And for someone to go out of their way and be like you're actually looking so happy today.
Yeah, well, I think all the time, like I think I'll be with someone and I'll think something really good, but I won't say it.
You don't reckon?
But I don't know why. Why do I not?
I don't know.
I should just say it.
You should.
You know what? I'm going to start saying it.
Mate, we're making a pact now.
Yeah. Honestly, when I think of something kind to say or something nice, I'm just going to say it.
Bro, I like that. I love that. But I don't know. You fucking say it to me all the time.
Yeah.
You're just like, geez, mate, you're looking good, or you're happy, or you're thriving. You know what I mean?
Even people that you're not that close with, let's just say you're in a group setting or something, you don't really know someone. If you think that, you know, their hair looks nice, just go say it. Don't be shy.
Bro, I love where your head's at.
Seriously, because that could make their day.
And they won't forget about it.
Yeah, of course. They won't forget that. If I've just met someone and I've said something nice to them, they'll be like, I remember when I met him, he said that about me.
100%. Well, people, like, you won't forget what people said, but like what's the saying? People won't forget. I don't even. I'm gonna fuck it up. But the way you make people feel is how they remember you. Essentially, I forgot the quote. But I did a event with Movember last night at Bolter Brewing, and I met this guy called Josiah, and I met him at a run club like last week, like maybe 10 days ago. Yeah. And my first meeting, I was walking past him along the beach, and he's like, hey, and he's from like Canada. He's like, hey man, sick moustache, bro. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. You too. He's just like, man, I love that hat. Do you like the Yankees? Like, and I was just like, oh, mate, what a sick encounter. And then we followed each other on Instagram. And then, we caught up, we did the run the following week, and we ran with each other for a little bit. And he's just like one of those high energy individuals, like got so much love and so much like. I
just want to say you're very good at you're a very good networker. Like you're very good meeting people and like making them feel important, making them feel good. Like it's a really good trait to have. And you know how to socialize with anyone, don't you? There's not really many people that would not know how to speak to you. Like it's an easy conversation. I watch you with other people. I know you really well. Like we could talk underwater, but to see you be able to speak to other people, I'm just like, man, that's unbelievable. Like,
I appreciate
confidence.
That.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, man. But I don't think I was always like that at all. I think I don't know. Like maybe I think growing up for me, I always thought I was I don't know. I guess like we all go through those like little insecure stages.
Yeah.
Like, do girls like me? Do they not
Yeah.
like me? Do they like, or like, am I going to be good enough? Like, mate, I struggle probably. That's probably something that I struggle with the most is
Yeah.
like that feeling of like not being good enough.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's from like being medically retired from footy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's from past relationships. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's something that I fully struggle with. But I know, like, I see my parents, like, you know, Bill and Les,
Yeah.
like, mum's so kind, like got so much love. Dad can talk to anyone, like they both can talk to anyone.
Yeah, I guess it does come from your parents, doesn't it?
So
They're such good people. Like,
they're the best.
Yeah,
they're the best, and like they're so good. And so I see them conversing, and I guess obviously you're more like your parents, and that you want to take the best qualities from them. But I don't know, like I think that's probably a learnt thing where I see people out there, I just fucking want to make them happy. You know what I mean? And like and I, to be honest, it's selfish. Like I get so much energy from like meeting someone, pumping it up. Like even this morning at Legacy, Jerry was just like, "Mate, I love having you boys in here."
Yeah, he said that when we left. Yeah,
he's just
like your energy here was just unbelievable.
Energy and like the ability to like pump people up, because people will never forget that.
Yeah,
you know
of
what
course.
I mean?
Yeah, no, that was good. We had a really good morning, didn't we?
It was cracking morning. Anyway, back to that Movember thing. This guy Josiah, like just met him, and talking about like kindness and being kind.
Yeah.
The morning before, like so yesterday morning before the Movember event, he sent me like, and I don't know him very well. Like I met him twice in the last 10 days, and he sent me the most beautiful video message of himself.
Oh, right.
Just saying like, "Hey mate, I just wanted to let you know, like I appreciate you. Like I love what you're doing." He's like, "You've made my last 9 days like so memorable and more than what you think." He's like, "Thanks, and keep it up. Like I love where your head's at. Wow. Good luck for tonight. Good luck for the Q&A that you're doing with Movember tonight." And I was like, it just shook me. I was like, that's such a random act of kindness.
Yeah.
But mate, set up my whole day.
Yeah.
And like that, and like vice versa. Like I've got now, I'll never. That guy just made me feel so good. I'm never gonna forget that.
Yeah.
How he made me feel.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of stuff.
That's so cool. Yeah. It's like when it's like the mental health, like it's like a journal you do, like the 21 day.
The Resilience Project.
Resilience Project.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did that a couple of times, and
Really?
one of the things was message someone you haven't spoken to in a long time and tell them something nice about them. And I always thought that was the best thing ever, because I would message someone and like you said, it's almost selfish because of how happy it made you feel. And that was so good. And like, I think about that all the time. Sometimes I do just message random people.
Do you really?
I'm just like, I know I haven't spoken to you in like a year, but like, I hope you're doing well. Like,
That's so good. Hugh Van Kallenberg. That's he's a resident. Did you sit through any of his chats?
Yeah. Obviously, coming through the system, you did a few of them. Mate, his story and obviously it all came about because of his sister.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was all about that, and it was like, man, it was unbelievable. Every time I heard it, and every time I sat down, it was the same thing, but I loved it every time.
Yeah.
And I took something different out of it every single time. But yeah, it just made me think of that. Like,
did you do the gratefuls? Because Hugh's stuff is mindfulness, empathy, and gratefuls.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times with the gratefuls, it's like you write 3 things that you're grateful for every day.
Yeah.
Mate, I'll still do it. I'll put it up. I'll put it up on my Instagram.
I know. I see yours every day.
And what he talks about is that when you do this for 21 days, it actually changes your mindset and makes a habit. And then you'll actually start looking for the good things in life rather than looking for the bad things in life, which is actually, mate, it's a game changer.
It is. No, 100%. I need to start doing that.
It's
I see your gratefuls, and every time I think, man, that's... And then to be honest, every time I see your gratefuls on your story, I actually stop and reflect, and I go, just think of something. And it does change. It makes me think about it, which is good.
That's why I do it.
A difference, yeah.
Bro, that's why I do it. Like, don't get me wrong. And I was doing it for years at the Titans. But then because obviously we go through pits and falls. Like sometimes you'll do it, sometimes you'll forget about it. But Cooper Chapman, he was an ex-professional surfer. He's got a really great podcast, and he does workshops for school called The Good Human Factory. Yeah. And he does it every day. Yeah. Like every day he'll put up what am I grateful for? Yeah. But exactly what you said, like it sparks you to think about what you're grateful for. Yeah. And so that's why I do it. Like, that's the only reason I do it.
Oh, it's working.
Mate. What are we grateful about? I'm grateful for this.
Yeah,
100%. I'm grateful for the session this morning.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the wedding. Yeah. What are you grateful
for,
bro?
I'm grateful to be back at home on the Gold Coast.
Yes.
I'm extremely grateful for that. I'm grateful to be seeing all the people that I haven't seen in a long time. I'm grateful for the wedding as well. Yeah. Like so lucky to... especially in the world that we live in, to be able to actually have a wedding, I guess, and, celebrate with the people that we love. It wasn't the biggest wedding. We had a quite small wedding. yeah, I'm so grateful, man. I'm grateful for life at the moment.
Bro, you're thriving so much.
yeah.
What's it going to look like? Are you going to head back overseas? Or do you know what's plans?
Not sure.
Not
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So just kind of working through that at the moment. Could end up back overseas. Could stay. Honestly, being back in Australia is making me want to stay.
It's so tough, hey. It's so tough.
Honestly, look, I've been to like a fair few places in the world and I can appreciate a lot of things in the world, but I'll say hands down, Australia is the best country in the world.
We're very
Nothing
lucky.
will ever beat it here.
We're very lucky.
Yeah.
But it's good that you can actually go away, see another part of the world,
Yeah.
and now be like, actually, yeah, this is where I want to be based.
Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah, 100%. Australia will always be my base. But I just feel like there's some opportunities still overseas, and you know, to make the most of those experiences now, because I'm not going to have that forever.
Yeah.
So why not?
Mate, we touched on a fair few topics today.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to say? Is there anything that you think might be great for younger crew coming through, or is there anything that you want to touch on before we wrap it up?
I don't know. I think the biggest thing from me is just take every opportunity possible, because I nearly didn't go to France, and I can't imagine what life would have been like if I didn't go do that. It was the best experience of my life, and to think that I wasn't going to do it, it just blows my mind. Like every single opportunity, all the young guys coming through that are playing any sport, take every opportunity. Go meet that person. Go do that thing. You know, you might be out of your comfort zone, but it's just going to make you a better person. You're going to grow from it. Just take every opportunity possible.
And the opportunities that come from it. Like you could have one catch up, and that's a full sliding door moment. Like
100%.
I think about that all the time. Like those sliding door moments where it's just like, if I didn't have that coffee, or if I didn't meet that person, then I wouldn't have met my partner. I wouldn't have been in the job I'd been in. I wouldn't have done this. Like, it's wild to think about. Hey,
just take that opportunity. 100%.
Well, brother, mate, thanks so much for jumping on.
Mate, thanks for having me.
Mate, I had obviously incredible morning.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I can sit down with one of my best mates.
Yeah.
Beautiful wedding. Mate, I'm so fucking proud of you, bro.
Yeah,
like
thanks,
I love the fact that we don't have to speak to each other all the time to know that we're best mates. We said that at the Bucks party. We said that too. I'm not drinking, so I'm having I'm not drinking at the moment.
You're dead sober, and I'm absolutely blind, telling you how much I love you.
But that's the sort of man. People are like, oh, do you get annoyed when you go out sober and the boys are pissed? It's like, no, I love it because I don't forget any of the conversations. So, mate, no, thanks so much for jumping on. I obviously got so much love for you and Charlie and Bambi, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of years and what that looks like for footy, whether that's overseas or whether that's back here. Hopefully we can spend a bit more time together, and I love you, mate. Appreciate you.
Love you too, mate. Thanks for having me. It's good to see what you're doing, man. You're doing good things, so keep it up. I love it.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bro. You're the best.
How was that?
Thank you, my man. You're the good one.